This is Colin McGuigan for IFLTV. Edward.
I've decided I'm just going to go savage on every motherfucker in the game because I can't put up with all this bullshit anymore. You know, I've actually tried to sort of not chill out, but just not bite to any numpties. But I think I might just let everybody fucking have it instead, which is great news for you.
Come on then.
No, go on. You got to ask me questions first because you've got to go.
Let's go.
Eddie, have you heard of Bob Smith, who manages fucking someone, said this?
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about already. Norman's managers came out and said that.
Who's Norman's manager?
You tell me.
I don't know.
You've seen what he said.
Who is he? What's his name? Now you got to look it up.
Need to check that now.
You talk about is that
Adrian Clark, actually, before I even get check it. That's it.
No, I didn't realise it was Adrian Clark. Go on, yeah. What did Adrian Clark? I mean, firstly, one of the problems is Brian Norman's called Brian, right, which ain't great, and Adrian Clark's called Adrian. So I'm now in a negotiation with Brian and Adrian. Do you know what I mean? Which is like quite unique within itself. You know what I mean? Who's going to pop up next? Derek. You know?
He's basically come out and said that you're 200 grand off where they want to be. What did you offer them, first of all?
Donuts. Let me tell you something now. It's over. You know, because when the IBF set the purse bid date, anybody who knows anything about the business of boxing, unfortunately, Adrian and Brian do not fall in that category, you cannot no longer request a unification fight. So, congratulations, guys. You're too late. You fucked it up. You're going to get 200 grand to fight on a prospect undercard. Well done. Magical.
Is that you saying categorically, Butch, that's it, done?
Can't do it. It's once the IBF called a purse bid date, which was yesterday, it's over. And also, they come to me and they say, we'll do it. We want more money. We'll do it, but not in Philadelphia. It's like, where do you think the money comes from? Brian?
But could you not do it in Vegas? So what he said was he wants it.
Calm. You're not stupid, right? Where do you think the money comes from to do this kind of fight? From the broadcasters, thank you DAZN, and from the gate. Did you see the gate at Wells Fargo? I can't lose a 20,000 seat gate and just roll the dice doing it in Vegas. I mean, with all due respect, last time I checked, Brian Norman weren't that popular in Las Vegas. Where is Brian Norman from? Let me look it up now. I can't actually believe Brian Norman's turned this fight down. This is the problem with boxing. I don't know anything about Brian Norman, so we're going to just get some facts up right here now. It's not even coming up in the search. It's not a good sign, is it?
But you seen his last fight, what he made?
I didn't. Yeah, 200 grand. But to be fair, depends, sometimes there's some deductions. Call it 200 grand. All right? I don't mean it was 200 grand. Anyway, Brian Norman, he's from Dakota in Georgia. I'll tell you what, let's do the fight in Georgia. In Dakota. So I've not even said it right.
So are you saying that you would openly do it in his home?
Oh, you dickhead. Of course I wouldn't. Saying, boys? Of course I wouldn't. I'm going to do the fight where the fight generates money. You've got all these people come out on, like, you know, mobile phones and, like, you know, Brian Norman Sr. It's like Bill Haney from Wish, right? And it's like, we want 2.5 million. It's like, how? Brian? Charles? What's his name? The other geezer? Adrian? Derek? No. Like, if you want, I'll show you a P&L on what I'm paying. And then they're like, Boots got 4 million for the purse bid. Do you know how purse bids work? Like, you haven't got a fucking clue. This is easier for you to know. The payments for Boots and Norman for the unification, because of what Boots was prepared to take for the unification, would be a 50-50 split.
So you're saying that if you were offering 1.25 million to each of them?
I'm saying, no, it's much more than that. I'm saying that Boots has agreed to try and make this fight happen in a situation where basically they're going to get pretty much the same amount of money. Jaron Ennis, the best welterweight in the world, just sold out 15,000 at Wells Fargo, right? Massive TV deal with DAZN. He's moving his money to basically get the same as Brian Norman in a fight. Yet Brian Norman won't take 17 and a half times more than he made in his last fight. That's where the game is so messed up.
Are you at the point now where as if Adrian and Brian are watching this?
How are you, mate? Good to see you. Not as good as you.
If Adrian and Brian Norman, Senior, Junior, are watching this, are you at the point now where you'll actually still do the fight?
Do you not listen to me? With the IBF ruling, when they announce the purse bid date, which is next Tuesday, you cannot ask for an exception.
So it's dead in the water, it's not happening?
It's dead.
So what do you do with Boots now?
Well, we either fight Jaduzian or we vacate. That's it.
Where are you at? Because you've said openly that you want to do a fight in the Wells Fargo.
To unify the division. But I've got a plan to do a monster card in November.
In Philadelphia?
Possibly. And that would be a part of it. So let's see what we do. Let's see how the purse bid goes. I also have no problem with Boots moving to 154 pounds. I love the fight. We reached out to PACHECO. You know, I think that's a great fight. You've got Israel Madrimov. You know, you got some great fights at 154 outside of the champions. Love to fight a champion. But we've got some decisions to make over the next 72 hours. But the decisions will not include Brian, Norman, Adrian, or Derek.
Will you find it tough ever doing a fight with those guys again after this?
Of course not. I don't care. I'd love to do a fight with them. But sometimes you miss the boat. Listen, maybe it all works out and we end up doing a unification, but he won't be getting any more money. That's it. That's the money. But it's all right because he can fight on Keyshawn Davis's undercard. 200 bags.
Eddie, I want to get your thoughts.
My advice to Brian, Norman, Adrian and Derek are, you better get $1 million for your first title defence because you're worth all of that, son.
Eddie, I want to get your thoughts on something that's happened recently. Simon Jordan said, I don't know what he's going on at, but Simon Jordan said on his show that there's a promoter involved in the Riyadh season shows that basically charged a fighter 90% of their purse because Turkey LL Sheikh spoke to that fighter and got that information from them. What do you know about that situation? And does that seem, it seems crazy to me?
Well, one, it's not me. But two, I know absolutely nothing about that at all.
Do you believe that that could happen on a magnitude of a card like that? It seems unrealistic.
Probably not, in all honesty. But it depends how deals are done. And, you know, sometimes there's different payments. I've no idea. I don't think Simon was Simon in the meeting? I don't know.
I don't think
saw
so.
Wally Downs' tweet.
Yeah.
I think there was an off-the-record conversation between journalists that somehow got back to Simon Jordan. I don't know. It's a dirty game.
Eddie, I'll go through some quick ones with you. Richardson Hitchens said that he's fighting in October, but he's now saying November. Is he still headlining somewhere, or are you looking at...
Richardson Hitchens will headline.
Where?
We're working on that. Could be Orlando, but most likely on the East Coast.
And is it still looking down the IBF route?
Yeah, no, he's locked in to fight the winner of Paro against whoever he faces. So Richardson Hitchens is already mandatory. Liam Paro gets that time to make a voluntary defence after his win, but he must fight Richardson Hitchens after that.
Can you give us an idea of US headlines from now until the end of 2024?
End of 24, Jaron Ennis, Bam Rodriguez, Richardson Hitchens. That's about it.
Bam Estrada?
Quite possibly.
Arizona again?
Maybe.
In terms of, obviously as well, you know, Shakur's been an unbelievable signing. We've seen on top of that Shakur signing that Zepeda said that he wasn't available. Now we're seeing that he might be on a... What do you make of that?
Yeah, we were a bit disappointed, really, to be honest, because I spoke to Shakur today and Josh Dubin and the guys, and we were told that Zepeda wouldn't be available in October or November or September because he's having a child. Now we hear that I believe he's going to fight Tevin Farmer
So pay them farmer in a Riyadh season card in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, I don't know all the details, but I thought he was going to fight George Kambosos, but he's not fighting George Kambosos. So I hear it's Tevin Farmer, but you know, we were ready to go straight into that Zepeda fight, but maybe they're not, so we'll see.
What's the situation with Liam Parrow, Devin Haney? Is that a fight that you want to make?
Yeah, it's definitely a fight we want to make, but you know, we need to do a deal with the state governments, and that's what we're looking at the moment.
And has Devin said that he's accepted a fight and will go to Australia for that?
He'll, if the money's right.
What's next for Matthias? Someone like Jose Felix in Puerto Rico?
Maybe. I think, you know, Matthias has a lot of value. I think he's a very exciting fighter, but he needs to bounce back with a win. And he'll fight before the end of the year, get that win. And then I think he'll be involved in big fights in 2025.
I'm going to put 2 and 2 together here.
Probably make 6.
I met a great Olympian today in the hotel. I'm going to put 2 and 2 together that you're probably meeting this Olympian tonight, and Marco Verde from Mexico. First of all, just your thoughts on Marco and how good and what he can become.
We've already spoken to Marco Verde, and we'll continue to do so, as will every promoter in the world. You know, we're looking, I've identified 4 Olympians that I want to sign.
Can you give us the names of those?
5 Olympians that I want to sign.
Can you give us the names?
No. Well, one of them is Marco Antonio Verde.
How good do you think he could be? I noticed every interview that Mayweather spoke about in Mexico, he mentioned wanting to sign Marco Verde. Do you think Mayweather has a chance?
I think that everybody wants to sign Marco Verde. And I said to him, like I say to every young fighter, particularly coming through the amateur system, talk to everyone and then make your decision. And if you don't sign with Matchroom, it'll be the worst decision you make in your entire career.
Zelfa Barrett came out last week and had some comments to say he's unhappy about not being involved in cards. He wasn't on the Catterall card in Manchester. Why not?
Because we're looking to make a big fight for Zelfa. And you can't just put Zelfa Barrett on the undercard of that fight. You need to make a fight in his own right, as we did against Jordan Gill. So we headlined him. We offered Zelfa Barrett the Shakur Stevenson fight for a huge amount of money, and they didn't want to entertain that fight. I actually think that was a mistake, but they do want to fight at super featherweight. I get that as well. I quite like Zelfa Barrett against Lee Wood. I think it's a really good fight.
Have you spoke to Lee about that one yet?
I think Frank's mentioned it to Ben Davison.
Last one for me, Eddie. Obviously, you mentioned yesterday you want a spectacular end of the year for Matchroom in the UK. What does that involve in terms of headliners and where?
Well, I don't think I said that, but also we need to make sure that the product is strong. And, we know we got September 28, we got a great fight in Catterall against Prograis in October, and I need to try and I want to close Sonny Edwards against Galalia fight. I think it's a great all-British fight, and other fights as well for the card, and then go into 2025 with a schedule. As we approach September, October, we're really also planning January, February and March as well. But, as I said to a lot of the journalists today on media calls, we really got to make sure that we refresh the UK product. And I think you'll see a lot of changes to what we do in the UK.
Eddie, always a pleasure. Thanks, mate.
Never a pleasure.
Stop ducking me.